existed 10,000 years ago, I shall say that the continent, the civilization, was very high. Of course, it was not exactly the same as the civilization we experience now, but the civilization was higher than the present one, still, in my opinion, however, with the same kind of development, materialistic development. Also, with more than that, I think that Atlanteans had a knowledge, a superior knowledge, that we begin to have now, for instance, or that scientists are beginning to be interested in by now, for instance, in the parapsychological field. But also, at that time, they had another kind of aeroplanes, I could say, but not at all the same kind we have now, maybe more elaborate. Therefore, we can say that certainly at this time they had distractions such as trips, maybe movies, maybe films, certainly also dancing and so on, you see. But these distractions were met by people who were more educated, yet more educated than we are now. And therefore, these people got distractions from these similar points, similar distractions at a higher level. Music also, naturally. Now, we can understand through all what is said about Atlantis, we can understand that the level of knowledge was very high. Therefore, what we have now as accomplishment on the material plane was certainly, surely, higher in the same proportion. And our civilization is certainly very much developed, but not yet as Atlantis was, and certainly not yet as the future will be. I must add, if people are wise and if they don't destroy themselves, this would mean the end of Atlantis. And you know about Francis Bacon. He wrote the New Atlantis by foreseeing the future. That is what we Atlantis emerging, if I could say.
It's not unusual in esoteric philosophies to find predictions of the eventual rise of Atlantis from the ocean floor. Seen from the perspective of Velikovsky or Herbiger, such a convulsion is little more than part of the continual shifting of the Earth's face, a movement from crest to trough in a cosmic wave of events. But few, if any, psychics have matched the precision of Edgar Cayce, known as the Sleeping Prophet, in detailing the coming Earth changes. Here, from a trance reading he gave in 1943, are some of the things he told us to expect in our time.
As to the changes physical again, the Earth will be broken up in the western portion of America. The greater portion of Japan must go into the sea. The upper portion of Europe will be changed as in the twinkling of an eye. Land will appear off the east coast of America. There will be upheavals in the Arctic and in the Antarctic that will make for the eruption of volcanoes in the torrid areas. And there will be the shifting, then, of the poles, so that where there have been those of a frigid or semi-tropical, will become the more tropical, and moss and fern will grow. As to conditions in the geography of the world of the country, changes here are gradually coming about. Many portions of the east coast will be disturbed, as well as many portions of the west coast, as well as the central portion of the United States. In the next few years, lands will appear in the Atlantic as well as in the Pacific, and what is the coastline now of many a land will be bed of the ocean. Then the area where the entity is now located, Virginia Beach, will be among the safety lands, as will be portions of what is now Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois, and much of the southern portion of Canada and the eastern portion of Canada, while the western land, much of that is to be disturbed in this land, as of course much in other lands. The earth will be broken up in many places. The early portion will see a change in the physical aspect of the west coast of America. There will be open waters in the northern portion of Greenland. There will be new lands seen off the Caribbean Sea, and dry land will appear. South America shall be shaken from the uppermost portion to the end, and in the Antarctic, off Tierra del Fuego, land and a strait with rushing waters.
The earth and its continents rises and falls. There are fish fossils on the top of the Himalayas, and what was farmland lies on the ocean floor, but only until the next comet or meteor or catastrophe. This much is already suggested by our science, that there are no such things as continents and oceans, only the shifting grimace of the earth's face. Each changing appearance, seen in this way, is simply the reincarnation of an earlier world. It may not be a great distance from this realization to an understanding of human reincarnation. It was in Edgar Cayce's life readings on reincarnation that Atlantis was first mentioned. Here's his son, Hugh Lynn Cayce.
Yes, there's a whole theory in the Edgar Cayce readings of man's projection, or the soul, as a spiritual being quite different and separate from the earth, and of the soul projecting into the mineral, plant, and animal form, and that even in Atlantis there were periods when they were still freeing the body of the crossbreeding and the